Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are here again, joined by Alysia Lyons. Excited to have her here talking about mom guilt. All that she does to really help increase your peace. That's Peace. We'll get into that in just a moment. But she's here as a mom support coach to help so many of us. And we want to welcome her back. How's everything today?
Everything is going good. Thank you for asking. How are you in the Big Apple?
Oh, everything's fantastic. Weather's not so good, but yeah, New York is good. It's the fall. I love the fall. Going out to Long Island, the pumpkin picking and all the fall type of stuff, right? And, where you are in California, I don't think you get to experience that, do you?
No, we're still kind of sunny and bright, and not a lot of rain. And now when it rains, I get a little scared because there was like 500 lightning strikes.
Oh my goodness!
Up in the mountains where my mom lives.
Oh my goodness!
And it started a huge fire, and they had to get evacuated. That was a couple of months ago, and everything's fine. But it's like now every time there's lightning, I'm like,
all right. Well, glad you guys are okay, right?
Yeah,
Perfect.
Everything was good. So we were protected. That was great.
Well, thanks for being here with us again. I just want to establish how we can contact you to start. Could you give us the website, phone number, social media, etc.?
Absolutely. So my website is momsupportcorner.com, which redirects to my name, AlysiaLyons.com. And I'm on social media as Mom Support Corner on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. So you can find me there.
Perfect. And let's just for those new timers, tell us a little about the role you play, what you do as a mom coach, and then we'll get into today's conversation.
Absolutely. So I help moms release mom guilt, which is such a heavy emotion, and increase the peace in their life. Because what I've noticed is that there's these 5 different areas that typically have the ability to either increase or decrease our peace. And so I help moms walk through those 5 areas, find out where you are, because just like a GPS, if you don't know where you are, you can't get to where you're going or where you want to go. And I want moms to feel more peace in their life. I had an experience when my son was about 15 months old. I went through a divorce. I lost everything that I was feeling proud of in my life. And I used to call that the pit of despair. And I was there for at least 1.5 years where I was trying to get out, but I couldn't figure it out. And so I know that, and my son was really connected to my emotions. And what I noticed is that as I got better, so did he. And so a lot of times we're looking at our kids and their behaviors, and really if we change, then they change too.
Aww. Well, I love it because we are in so need of this help. As moms out there struggling, listen up, you are not alone. And that's the first and foremost thing to know. It's okay. We can get through this, but not everybody has the skills, the coping mechanisms to do so. And also just want to point out that, hello, we got a book, Good Mom Rules, Ditch Mom Guilt, and Find Your Happy. Tell us a little bit about that too.
Yeah, so I've been writing since I could put 2 sentences together. And when I got into this world of coaching, I wasn't used to using my voice, and I wasn't comfortable with coaching other people yet. I had to develop those skills, but I knew that I had this information in my head that would help other moms. Mm-hmm. And so I, even though I spent 12 years taking a break from writing, it was still the most natural thing to me is to sit down and write it out. And so I sat down, I wrote out my book. And I was interviewing moms. I kept seeing this common theme that I was like, oh, she's feeling guilty about this and she's feeling guilty about that. And so I took like the most popular common of the guilts, and I wrote them down, and I walk you through the process that helped me release my guilt. It's very individualized, guilt is. So mm-hmm. I try to help. But something that was my solution might not be your solution. So that's also why you can get in part of the free peace assessment, you can also get a guiltless coaching session. When you go on my website, you get a free chapter of my book, and you can schedule the guiltless coaching session.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And for today's show, did you have anything in mind that you want our listeners to know for today? I know we're going to break down peace again, right? Tell us what that is.
Yeah, so the 5 letters of peace stand for people, the people in our life. And I like to say the pertinent people in your life, like the ones that are the most important, or the ones that you spend a lot of time with. So maybe your coworkers aren't all that important to you, but they do have the ability to disrupt your peace when they get on your nerves. I've experienced a couple of those in my life.
Ditto.
So
not outing anyone, but it's true. It's very true.
Yeah, nobody around right now, right?
No. Even though we're on a live podcast, they can hear me and see me, but oh well. Just joking.
And then our emotions. Yeah, right. And then our emotions, we're in our day and age as we grew up, emotions were not something that we were allowed to express. And so I say, if you were over the age of 35, you probably heard the phrase, I will give you something to cry about. And I'm like, but I'm already crying about something. I don't, why are you threatening that to me? But so we learned that crying is not okay, and expressing our emotions is not okay. And I've also noticed that, especially there's a difference between, men and women. It's like women are allowed to feel, or expected to feel every emotion on the spectrum, but not express anger. Anger is not okay to express for women. Men, it's the exact opposite. Men are expected to express anger, but don't express anything else. And so we are unexpressed as moms, and so we stuff. And when we stuff, then it lives in our bodies, and that's going to disrupt our peace too, because it can't hold. Like if you think of a bathtub and you plug it and you just leave the water running, the water doesn't have anywhere to go. And once it's full, it spills over. And so that's what happens with a lot of our emotions. And emotions are really we don't understand them. So they actually only last 90 seconds. If you have an emotion that lasts longer than 90 seconds, it's found another emotion somewhere in your body that it's attached onto.
Yeah.
So, our bodies are fascinating and very, very smart. We know very little about them. But anyway, so that's kind of emotions. So so I walk you through, like, how emotionally expressed are you? How comfortable are you with your emotions? How long do they last? The next thing is our assets. So our physical surroundings, either again at work or at home. Like, I do not like having a bunch of clutter on my desk. And clutter just
do I, but it happens all the time.
irritates my mind.
It does.
Yeah. So you might be that way, and you might not care as much. So, but our physical surroundings do have something to do with our peace. And so that's another aspect. Chaos, our schedules. We a lot of times pack too much into our schedules, and as we stopped being the latchkey kids, I think parents started over scheduling their kids too. So we got to look at our schedule. Like, do they need to be on the football team, basketball team, and hockey? Like, or can we we pick one, or and so we can look at the schedules.
Got it.
And then our exhaustion. So a lot of people talk about self-care, and it's cliche, but it's cliche because it's a thing. There's a reason it's cliche, because we need to take care of ourselves. And we've heard, is your glass on empty, or are you filling, like, is your cup full? Right. And I heard an analogy a while ago of, like, if you are pouring into yourself and you're giving yourself enough care, then you're going to get to the full.
Uh-huh.
And if you get to the full and you keep giving into yourself, then you're going to overflow and you
Yep.
can give from the overflow. So you don't ever want to get below the 100%. You want to give from the overflow. And I started talking about that a while ago, and I started recognizing that there's a lot of moms that their cup isn't just empty, it's shattered and broken on the floor.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where I was when I was in the pit of despair. Like it was, I had nothing to give at that time. And it's really hard when you're a mom and you've literally got nothing to give. So that's where I come in.
Aw, well, thank you for being here, Mom. You're amazing, and I know you've shared your own story with us and why you're here, and why you're helping so many of the moms out there. It's just beautiful that you continue to give back like this. And since we spoke last week, anything in particular? Have you worked with anyone that you want to share their story? Anything in particular that has happened? To some of your clients that you're helping them address all this?
Sure. So I had one mom, and I think last week you asked me about, does the mom guilt ever go away? Or is it, do you live with it forever? So it can go away when you address it, but we can also live with it forever. So it depends on where you are in that spectrum. But one of the moms that I interviewed in my book, I had changed her name for being anonymous, and she was feeling guilty about her daughter. As she looked, her daughter came out as gay, and when she came out, her mom was looking back and thinking, "Oh my gosh, there were so many signs that was true, and I was forcing her to be someone that she was not, and she was beating herself up about that." So I wrote about that in the book. And I had a coaching session with her last week, and what she was struggling with now was the physical surroundings. So her assets. And she's, in her 60s. She's married and has an adult daughter with a child living with her. And she's doing all the chores. And because she's 62 and has arthritis and walks with a cane, a lot of those chores aren't getting done.
Nope.
And so I was talking with her and I said, "Well, have you asked for help?" And she said, "When I ask for help, I get a lot of negative feedback from my husband and my daughter that I'm nagging too much." And so I suggested that she write down a list of the chores that she does that she would like some help with, and present that list to her husband and her daughter and say, I would really love some help. Is there anything on this list that you would be willing to do for me?
Yeah.
Because that has a very different energy than, honey, why can you take out the trash? Because even if we don't mean to say it in a snarky tone, it might be perceived in a snarky tone.
Definitely.
So she really appreciated that as an option, because it's not something that she'd ever thought about doing before, but she was absolutely at this point where she needed help. And when I walked her through the peace assessment, I think she said that she was a 1 on every single one. Like, she was not doing good.
Well, this is the benefits of talking to someone, working with someone who knows and who can relate, can empathize, and to be that type of. It's like you're like a cheerleader. You're like a guide. You're holding their hand through this all. Can I describe it that way? Is that okay?
I think so. And everybody that wants to get more out of themselves needs a coach.
Yep.
Because we are not designed to get the most out of ourselves on our own. If you name any athlete out there, they've got a coach coaching them to be better.
Yep.
Because if I told you to raise your hand, Jill, would you raise your hand?
I just did.
Okay. Yeah. And then Zoom jumped up. Okay. So if I said raise your hand more, you would raise your hand more, because it's not, yeah, Zoom's messing up,
Okay,
messing
it's
with
okay.
us.
It's okay.
But if you raise your hand, if somebody says raise your hand, you're going to raise your hand to a certain amount. But if I
Yeah.
say raise your hand higher, you're going to raise your hand higher. You didn't go to the max potential of raising your hand on your own, right? So that's a good, and moms today, we just don't have the support system that we used to. We don't have mom and grandma and living in the same house or the same town sometimes,
Yeah.
so we don't, and we don't have a lot of friends either. As I've talked to so many moms that are just like, I don't have any friends. I don't have any support. And so that's why I called myself the mom support coach, because the times that felt the worst
Yeah.
were the times that I didn't have support.
Well, we are here to let you know you are not alone. And just to remind everyone, if you go to her website, you can check her out there. Alysia Lyons, let me just spell it for you, ALYSIALYONS.com. Just a reminder, we're here with our founder of an intuitive coach, as a mom support coach, is where she's guiding us. And again, don't forget to pick up a copy of her book. Just got to keep plugging you. In the meantime, we still have more time to talk. What else?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nice to have other people plug you, because
I know it's like embarrassing, right? You feel like what? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so another mom that I had a coaching session with recently, she was having some issues with excuse me, at work with another coworker who was actually being kind of inappropriate. And she was afraid to speak up and say anything because she was afraid of retaliation. She was afraid of losing her job. And I imagine that this is a lot more common than we even think about even today. And so
Yep.
what I helped her through was we went back to her childhood, where even when she was little, she never spoke up. She had an older sister who, for as long as she could remember, was mean to her and bullied her. And she never once said anything about it to her parents. Her sister would get in trouble if they saw it happen, or if she cried and they came in to see what was going on, why she was crying, but she never spoke up. And so I helped her go back into the past, and she had a conversation with her younger self. What does your younger self need to hear? What does she need to know? And so this is called inner child work yeah, I think inner child work is one of the ways one of the things that it's called.
Okay.
And it's super fascinating that was 2 weeks ago. Then I met with her again this week, and the interactions that she had at work were a lot different, and she was able to, in the moment, stand up for herself and not feel any kind of conflict. So there's things that we're doing that stem from our childhood that we don't understand. We don't even recognize that that's a thing. So these are the things that I get all geeked out about and love to support people with.
I love it. I'm all geeked out about, you say.
Yeah.
No, well, it's it's what you love to do. It's your true calling and true passion. And what were you doing before you became a mom support coach again?
I've been drawn to a lot of different healing modalities, but I was a massage therapist in my early 20s. I went into the corporate world working with attorneys, and I thought I had my dream job working as a legal secretary. I still love doing, all the paperwork and the organization and I still have those skills, but I was fired or laid off from my dream job back in 2010 when the economy tanked.
Crashed, yeah.
And so I couldn't find a job that was full-time, permanent, and worth getting out of bed in the morning.
Yep.
And so I switched into direct sales business, and girlfriend of mine said she was having fun and making money, and I was like, hold up. How
You
do
could do
have
that. You
fun
could
while
have
you
fun and make money. Wait a sec. What?
right? This is not part of my world. So, but I joined the company. I'm actually still part of the company, but I have this passion for women, and I really always have. Um, and so now it's like, how can we? So one of the things that my coach likes to say is that if you know that you want something and you're not doing the thing that you want, you probably have a curled finger. I'm going
Yeah.
to explain what that means.
Yeah. I
So
never
if you
heard that
take your
term.
middle finger,
Oh, wait. Okay. Oh, it's actual. If you're talking about our finger. Okay, got it. Middle finger. Go
yeah,
ahead.
if you take your middle finger and you tuck it under on a flat surface, you can move all of your fingers except the ring finger. That ring finger will not move unless maybe you're a piano player,
Oh, yeah. Mine don't move at all. Okay. Yeah.
right?
Got it.
So the reason is that there's a tendon that connects those
Oh,
fingers.
okay.
But in the emotional world, in the physical world, like if you want to do something
Mm-hmm.
and you try and you're not doing it, then somewhere there's a curled finger.
Yeah. Ah,
And a coach's job is to find that curled finger.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Never thought, look at it that way. Now I'm really looking at my hands.
Right. He didn't know that the reason is because of the tendon, and I learned that in massage school, so I added
Mm-hmm.
that part, but there's a reason. But if you think about that tendon, that's your limiting belief.
Ah.
Hmm?
All right. Well, this is interesting. I'm learning now about my biology as well from you
Right.
today. See, the massage therapy got you too, right? You
Yeah.
have all these skills. Oh my goodness. Well, can I just, as a coach, and you're working with so many people, I mean, I've mentioned, there's some great experiences and stories that people have benefited from, and it's not just though the mom guilt. You're doing personal coaching too at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's because we're human, and being a mom is just one of the roles our in our life. And so one of my other favorite things to coach on besides, guilt and peace is helping people overcome their writer's block.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mentioned 12 years I didn't write, and it was because I asked myself a question. If I'm not going to publish the book, what's the point of writing?
Yep.
That was a question that I asked 12 years back in 2008, because I had published a fiction book in 2008. It didn't immediately become J.K. Rowling or anything. So I thought that must mean that I'm a terrible writer. And the publisher owned the rights to my characters. And I had 3 books
Oh
planned
gosh.
for that
Mm-hmm.
series. So I didn't like the publisher any
Yeah.
longer. I didn't want to go with them. So I thought, well, what's the point
Well,
of writing
what's
if I can't
mm-hmm.
publish these books? And the answer to that question that I answered 12 years later with the help of a coach is because I love to write, because writing
Ah.
is my passion.
Yeah.
And so I have a blog on my website that I contribute to every so often, but I'm getting better at doing it once a week now, but because I love to write. So what is it that you're passionate about that somebody told you you're not good enough at it? You're not going to ever make any money at it. So many of us hear that, and so we stop doing the
Yeah.
thing that we love because somebody else didn't think we were good enough.
Aww. And that's such a shame. But we're going to get through this. And guess what? You can do it. You can survive. We're out of time. I didn't realize it. How do we reach out to you? Please share.
Oh, AlysiaLyons.com, AlysiaLyons.com. And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at Mom Support Corner.
And if we want to pick up your book, what's the title? Where do we find it?
It's called Good Mom Rules, Ditch Mom Guilt and Find Your Happy. And it is on Amazon. You can also find it on my website at AlysiaLyons.com/books with an S.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you back as always. And we'll talk again soon. Are we back on next week? Yeah.
And we are either next week or the week after.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much. Have a great day, okay?
All right, you too.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. And to all of our listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.